Officer Spence Makes No Sense, Chapter 3, The Peanut Butter and Jelly Bandit. Officer Spence shoved Mr. Klutz against the wall and started searching through his pockets. "You can't arrest the principal of our school," said Andrea. "Oh no," shouted Officer Spence, "just watch me." "I didn't steal anything," said Mr. Klutz. "Oh no," asked Officer Spence, holding up a spoon he found in Mr. Klutz's pocket. "What's this?" "It's a spoon," Mr. Klutz said, "for my yogurt." "Yogurt?" Officer Spence snorted. "Yeah, right. A spoon can be a deadly weapon, Klutz. You could gouge out someone's eyes with one of those things. I'm going to have to confiscate this yogurt and do a DNA test on it." "What? Why?" "You have the right to remain silent, Klutz," Officer Spence said, "so shut up. Now open that briefcase nice and slow and don't make any false moves." Mr. Klutz put his briefcase on the table and opened it. "What have we here?" Officer Spence said as he held up 2 sandwiches. "Those are peanut butter and jelly sandwiches," Mr. Klutz said. "And I suppose you were going to eat yogurt and 3 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for lunch today, eh?" asked Officer Spence. "That's right," Mr. Klutz said. "I love peanut butter and jellies." "You're the peanut butter and jelly bandit," Officer Spence yelled, pointing his finger at Mr. Klutz. "You steal food from hungry children. Is that the way you roll, Klutz?" "No," Mr. Klutz said. "My wife made me those sandwiches, and she makes me lunch every day." Officer Spence grabbed the front of Mr. Klutz's shirt and yelled in his face. "That's right, blame it on your wife. You're pathetic, Klutz. I know how to handle punks like you." "But," Officer Spence spun Mr. Klutz around and handcuffed his hands behind his back. "But I didn't do anything," Mr. Klutz protested. "I'm the principal." "The criminal is always the one you least expect," said Officer Spence. At that moment, our vice principal, Miss Jaffe, came rushing over. "What is the doggone problem here?" she asked. "I heard some yelling." "Freeze, dirtbag!" shouted Officer Spence. "You're under arrest." "What?" yelled Miss Jaffe as he handcuffed her. "Take him away, boys," Officer Spence shouted. "The 2 of them make me sick." The guys with the bulletproof vests led Mr. Klutz and Miss Jaffe out of the vomitorium. We looked out the window and saw them get into a police car. The sirens were screaming and the lights were flashing as the police car drove away. "Wow," we all said, which is Mom upside down. I didn't like seeing Mr. Klutz and Miss Jaffe get arrested, but I had to admit it was cool. A lot of weird things have happened at elementary school, but this was the first time our principal and vice principal were taken away in handcuffs. I looked at Ryan. Ryan looked at Michael. Michael looked at Neil. We were all looking at each other. Nobody knew what to say, except Andrea, of course. "My name is Andrea, and I'm on the Principal Advisory Committee," she said to Officer Spence. "Aren't you overreacting a little? I mean, it was just a sandwich." "Just a sandwich, Andrea," Officer Spence said, sneering. "Oh, you don't know the first thing about how criminal mind works. First they steal a sandwich. If they get away with it, they come back the next day, they take your whole lunch. And if you don't stop them right there, the next thing you know, they stole your refrigerator." "You think Mr. Klutz is going to steal a refrigerator?" Michael asked. "Believe me," Officer Spence said, "these dirtbags will steal anything that isn't nailed down." "How would you nail down a refrigerator?" Ryan asked. "With really long nails," I told him. "Nobody leaves the school until I get to the bottom of this," Officer Spence announced. "The bottom of what?" asked Neil the nude kid. "I'm going to do a full-scale investigation," Officer Spence explained. "You should try the nurse's office," I told him. "Miss Coney has a scale in there that you could investigate." Officer Spence stuck his face right next to mine. "You think you're pretty funny, huh, punk?" he said. "Well, okay, Mr. Funny Boy, just for that, you get to go first."